Well, joining us now to break it all down is Tennessee Congressman Andy Ogles. Congressman, good to have you on Newsmax tonight.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
So I'm curious here, Congressman, what are you hearing from the other side of the aisle? I mean, out in public in front of the cameras, they're saying that they're sticking with Joe, but is that the case behind closed doors?
Well, I think the reality that's slowly sinking in with most in the Democrat Party is they've got a problem. They have a candidate that cannot win. They have a candidate that most Americans now realize will not finish his second term. And so then what do? Their next best hope is Kamala Harris. Well, she's as bad at speaking in public as Joe Biden. Now, for different reasons, the president clearly has some issues with cognitive decline. He's accelerated his pace of decline. He's accelerating the last 6-8 months. And they didn't plan for this. They didn't realize he would be this bad off come August and November. And so now they're stuck with Kamala Harris. And her polling numbers, despite what the media might tell you, are worse than Joe Biden's. And once she's on full display, there's no way the American people are going to trust her with the nuclear football. There's no way they're going to trust her to secure the border. Not to mention she's already the border czar, and we have little girls all over this country being raped by illegals because of Joe Biden and the failures of Kamala Harris.
Well, no doubt about that. And that was her one job, to get that border under control, and she clearly has not done that. Congressman, I want to go back, though, to some very concerning information that's been coming out, leaking out, about visits to the White House by medical professionals from Walter Reed Medical Center, including an expert in Parkinson's disease. Any chance that we could expect the doctors to show up on Capitol Hill and testify before Congress?
I think that's highly unlikely. And so I had a bill, the No Juicing Joe Act, which would require the White House, the president, to disclose to Congress, to the American people, what is the cocktail that you're taking and when are you taking it? So my guess is they went behind closed doors. Maybe the White House shared some of that magic cocktail and everybody changed their minds because they were so happy and vigorous all of a sudden. But it's not working anymore. The cocktail is failing, and the White House knows they have a broken candidate. They know we can't win. And so, again, to your point, I think it's germane, it's worthwhile, it's important to have these doctors testify before Congress. He is, after all, the leader of the free world. You go back to the G7 in Italy, where he literally wanders off in a field. You have the prime ministers that have to come around him and corral him back into place. You have the prime minister of Italy and the prime minister of Great Britain that are talking to him, trying to keep him focused. I mean, if you are one of the nations that looks to America for leadership and for protection, and you meet Joe Biden in public, you're thinking, holy crap. What happens if there is an attack? Will he be awake at 9 p.m. when he says he's going to bed at 8? And Jean-Pierre clearly doesn't know what is going on in the White House either.
All right, and keep your voice down, Congressman. The president's trying to sleep right now. All right, right. we got to be mindful of that. To that point, though, there was a report that came out just yesterday that apparently the president blew off a meeting with the German chancellor because he had to go to bed. And, of course, there was that infamous moment on camera where he just wandered away. And thank goodness for the Italian prime minister there. She was able to corral him back in before we had to issue a silver alert. Congressman, what does this say, and what message does this convey to our nation's enemies?
Well, I mean, I think that is already on full display. The world is a more dangerous place because of Joe Biden. Russia attacked Ukraine because they knew Joe Biden was weak. Iran, through its proxy, Hamas, attacked Israel on October 7 because they knew Joe Biden was weak. Look, parts of Africa are having greater unrest. Look around the world, the saber rattling of China towards Taiwan. Again, none of this happened or occurred under President Trump. But the moment Biden took office, the moment he showed weakness, the bullies of the world, the tyrants of the world took action because this was their moment. And they know they're about to have a Republican Senate, a Republican House, and they're about to have Donald Trump back in the White House, and we're going to go kick some butts.
And speaking of that, Congressman, the president's going to need a running mate to go kick those butts. Real quick here, we've got about 30 seconds. Who do you think that person ought to be?
Oh man, I mean, we have so many great choices, whether it's J.D. Vance or Burgum or Rubio. My favorite, quite frankly, is Ben Carson. He was my guest to the State of the Union 2 years ago. He's literally one of the smartest, brightest, kindest men that you could ever possibly meet, and he's dedicated to serving this country.
And he's one of the top neurosurgeons in the country, so might be able to lend a helping hand to the current crisis at the White House. So there you go.
Yeah, there's that, right?
All right. All right. Well, Congressman, we really appreciate the great work you're doing on Capitol Hill. Thanks for joining us tonight.
Thank you, sir.